Hey Tubies, it's Psychic Bob. Well, look, here I am. I got my high def webcam going. Today's my first day using it. Do I look clearer? Do I look alright? Do I sound good? Anyways, I'm really liking this new cam. I finally got it going. Thanks to Lady Angela. Big shout outs to Lady Angela. I want to say thank you for your help. And I also want to say thank you. Thank you to all of you who have been sending healing prayers and doing rituals and candle blessings and all of that for me. I'm doing a lot better. I slept a little better last night. For those of you who are targeted individuals, you know you never really are free or off the hook, but they did let me have some rest, and for that I am truly thankful. And anyways, I just realized my screen's a little crooked here. I'm having a little problem getting my camera to sit exactly straight, so we're a little bit askew. Just bear with me. I'm not going to try to fix it at this point. But anyways, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for your prayers. They are helping immensely. You know, I've been asking the Spirit today to let me receive all that healing energy. And so I put on white. You guys know that when I wear white, it's like purifying for me. And I need to detoxify from all that radiation, those lasers. So I've been wearing white and silver. I have a little silver cross today. I don't know if I've shown this to you. You know, I'm wearing crosses. I love crosses. I always have. Now, I know some of you can say, well, I thought you were a Wiccan. Yeah, I am a Wiccan, but I'm also a spiritualist. And in spiritualism, many times they use the cross. And this is my little, kind of hard to see here, it's a little silver cross. But I've been wearing that and just enjoying it. So I'm wearing my white and my silver that makes me feel very uplifted, very purified. There's my little cross, you can see it. Anyways, I have to show you another little mystical item that I got. Besides wearing the pentacle and the ankh, I also love, besides wearing the pentacle and the cross, I also love ankhs. And I just got a new little silver ankh in that I ordered today from a company on eBay. And it's made of sterling silver. This webcam's not so good with up close stuff, it's better at a distance. But it's a little silver ankh. And I'm going to consecrate that later tonight, hopefully, and I'll start wearing that. The ankh is the ancient Egyptian symbol, represents eternal life. And as many of you know, I love the goddess Isis. The goddess, not the terrorist group. And I wear the ankh. It helps me to connect to the great goddess Isis. So I'm going to be wearing that in the next few days, and I'll have that for you guys as well. But here we are, it's Saturday, and oops, my camera's just a little crooked here, so bear with me. I'm trying to get a good shot in for you guys. I'm still new to all this. But today is Saturday, and we usually have our Saturday seance. And so today what we're going to do is we're going to have a little lesson, a little spiritualist lesson, and then we'll have a little seance and see what the spirit people have. Also, I was going to show you, this is my blue cross. The blue crosses, and I've talked about this before, but if you're new here, this is also a spiritualist symbol. Whereas we, the Wiccans, always use the pentacle. Many in the spiritualist movement use the blue cross as a sign of hope. The blue represents the spiritual realm, the celestial light, and the cross represents eternal life. In many spiritualist churches, they believe that Jesus is the master medium. I believe that's true. And he demonstrated the power of life over death. And so the cross in spiritualism is a sign of eternal life and hope. So I have that here with me also. Anyways, I wanted to do a little reading today. I have a cool book here. I wanted to show this to you. This is an old, it's a 100-year-old book. It's called The New Revelation, and it's by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle was a writer. He wrote the Sherlock Holmes mysteries. But a lot of people don't know that later in his life, he became involved with spiritualism and became actually a student of spiritualism and wrote many books about spiritualist phenomena. And I have an original first edition here of his book, and it's from 1918. Isn't that great? Can you see the date down there? 1918. A little hard to see. This camera, as I said, is better at a distance than up close. But I bought this at an estate sale, and it's like almost in mint condition. It's really old. You can see the pages are yellowing. But he talks about spiritualism and how spiritualism is the answer to many of the struggles in the world. He talks about if we understood the reality of the truths of spiritualism, we could have peace, and churches would stop fighting, and religions would stop fighting, and they would unite under the understanding that we are all united under the same ultimate reality. I wanted to read a little section into here because, you know, in spiritualism we often talk about the spheres of the spirit world, the spheres of reality. It's believed that in the spirit world that there are actually many dimensions, many realities, and that life after death is a progression upward. Now you may remember that last week, hold on a second, let me get my other book out. Last week we talked about from the NSA Spiritualist Manual, one of the points that we talked about was point number 8, and this is from our Declaration of Principles. Okay, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch the last 2 weeks' videos, okay? But point number 8 says, we affirm that the doorway to reformation is never closed to any human soul here or hereafter. And what that means is that life is a series of opportunities for eternal progression, that people continually have a chance to grow. You can grow on earth, and after you die, you continue to grow in the spirit world. And this is a fundamental teaching of the spiritualist tradition. And in this other book that I'm reading, The New Revelation by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, he talks about some of the evidences from seances about life after death. In fact, I thought I'd read it to you here. This kind of talks about the reality of the spirit world and how progression continues, okay? So it says, actually I gotta put on my glasses. I thought I could read without. It's like Bob's eyes aren't so good. All right. These, roughly speaking, are the lines of the life beyond its simplest expression. For it is not all simple, and we catch dim glimpses of endless circles below, descending into gloom, and endless circles above, ascending into glory. All improving, all purposeful, all intensely alive. All are agreed that no religion upon earth has any advantage over another, but that character and refinement are everything. Let's repeat that again, okay? But that character and refinement are everything. This is really interesting to me because there is a saying that I learned when I was in the Spiritualist church, which is not creeds, but deeds are what brings spiritual advancement. And what that means is, running around professing your religion and saying, only those who follow this creed will be saved. Only those who follow this statement of belief will be saved. Spiritualism doesn't really have that. It says, you can believe what you want, but how do you live? So it is deeds, not creeds. And so as this says, it says, all are agreed that no religion upon earth has any advantage over another. Meaning, what you believe is not so important, but what is important is how you live what you believe. And this is a very significant part of spiritualism, and one that I agree with. Now, what's also interesting is they talk about the circles, and it says, glimpses of endless circles below, descending into gloom, and endless circles above, ascending into glory. What that is that is the different spheres of reality. And so people depending on your vibration, depending on your consciousness, you at your death will attain a level in the spirit world that is either closer to darkness or closer to light. And some people say, well, I know some people are evil. You're not going to tell me they're going to be saved. I'll tell you that ultimately all souls will be saved. But in the interim, those evil souls will attain a place of sorrow and expiation and darkness. So, if it's any comfort, and I know it sounds kind of strange to say, but there is a hell. And there are evil people that will go there. But even they eventually must reconcile their evil and ascend to the spheres of light. So don't worry, people like Hitler aren't suddenly getting into heaven while your Aunt Millie, who was an atheist, goes to hell. It's not like that. As it says in Spiritualism, the doorway to reformation is never closed, ever closed against any soul here or hereafter. So what that means is that everybody has a chance. It's interesting, I've read in other spiritualist literatures, they've said that basically, if the divine truly loves the universe and is embracing all of his creation or their creations, then ultimately all people are brought back to the heart of the divine. And if the divine could not bring you back into its heart, he wouldn't be divine. So the Godhead, however you want to call it, in spiritualism we call God infinite intelligent, meaning infinite intelligence is the creative mind of spirit that brings all things into reality. And in the end, all things return to infinite intelligence. So that means that all the souls, even the wayward souls, eventually awaken and return home to the Godhead. And this, to me, I think, is a great teaching of spiritualism. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle in this book also talks about hell and how, an endless hell just does not make sense. It's not reconcilable with an all-loving God. An all-loving God would not allow somebody to be tortured forever, endlessly. That God has such compassion. I heard somebody once say in the Spiritualist church, he said, how can I, as a human, a mere finite human, have greater compassion than the almighty divine infinite intelligence? So if we as humans can look at that soul in hell, even a Hitler, and say, oh my God, even he shouldn't burn forever and ever. Ultimately, someday he'll be, has to have some mercy, some healing. If I, as a finite human, can ultimately even forgive that, could not the great infinite intelligence? So this is an important part of spiritualism, to understand that there are various spheres of reality, and that the spheres all work together to bring us ultimately home. And this, I think, is probably one of the greatest teachings. Many people have left traditional Christian churches because they could not find peace in a God who would destroy somebody ultimately. And spiritualism says God really doesn't destroy anybody. We create our own heaven or hell. In fact, in the Spiritualist principles, the official listing, this is kind of the creed of the Spiritualist church, at least in the United States. Most of these Spiritualist churches in the U.S. are National Spiritualist Association of Churches, NSAC. Let me read this to you. Point number 7 says, we affirm the moral responsibility of the individual, and that he makes his own happiness or unhappiness as he obeys or disobeys nature's physical and spiritual laws. So basically, you create your own heaven or your own hell, and that reality that you create is what you will experience after death. So this is why, I think it's so important that we begin now. Now, I don't mean become a fanatic. Doesn't mean you have to run out in the streets being fanatical and preaching all day. It's not what it's about, but it's about developing your character, molding your personality in order that you can attain the higher spheres. And I can tell you from many people I've talked to and spoken with that have had near-death experiences, they have had this experience that there are many levels in the spirit world. And so, as it said in Arthur Conan Doyle's book, there are degrees of circles ascending into glory. Now, when we talk about circles, those could be thought of as planes, but ultimately they could also be thought of as spheres. Spheres, dimensions of reality. Like, when we look at our universe, it's like a sphere of space around the earth. And that's a dimensional reality. We live within a spherical reality. Material. But in the spiritual world, there are also these various spheres of reality. So the wonderful thing is, I think that we can start to think about where are we going to go when we die. A lot of people hate to talk about death. It scares them. Our Western culture has made such a bugaboo. I really think that's part of why spiritualism is so treated so hostilely by so many people. It's because I don't want to deal with that. You guys crazy, talking about dead, talking about spirits. Well, the truth is nobody really ever dies. The body will decay and dissolve, but the spirit that animates the body never dies. So death is literally a transition from the physical to the spiritual. And that spiritual transition does not, and I repeat this, does not have to be hard. This is why the spirit guides, like Rose and Fletcher and Alfred have all been saying, call on us. They always say, call on us, we will help you. And I think that's so valuable and so vital because, we need help to get to the spirit world. We need help to get through this life and help to get over there. And really, it's all one continuous journey. So as we live here, so we will live there. And I think it's so very vital. And I just love Arthur Conan's Doyle's. Words. In fact, I got to read these again. They're so inspirational for me because I think they really do tell the truth. Hold on just a second. So again, we want to think about, we have glimpses of endless circles below, descending into gloom, and endless circles above, ascending into glory. All improving, all purposeful, all intensely alive. So what he's saying is that even the dark realms have a purpose. They are meant to awaken you to your true nature. So you can rest assured, I know we all know somebody evil. We say, that guy, if they let him into heaven, I would rather be in hell. Well, don't worry, that evil person does get their hell. But even they will have a chance to ultimately reform. And so this is a point of spiritualism I think we want to really think about today, Where are we on our journey? And are we ascending to the circles of glory or descending? Every day we make a choice. We move closer to the light or we move further away. And my guides have told me this. And it's really true. So we want to live in a way that we're trying to move forward. Now, we're all human. We're all going to mess up. We're all going to be less than we ought to be. But that's okay. At least we're aware of it. And so I think awareness is 99% of the game. If you're aware, then you ascend. You do. How many of us have seen people in our lives? We've all seen where we look at somebody and they're just openly being evil. They're plotting against people. They're scheming. They're setting up traps. They're just trying to make hell for everybody. When you see somebody like that, you should pray for them and send light to them. Feel sad for them because they're descending. They're descending into the place of darkness. Now they think in this world they've got all the power and all the glory. And they might get it. Sometimes those evil people do get ahead. And people say, well, evil really wins? Sometimes yes, for a short term. But ultimately, no. And this is why, as a Wiccan, I say I don't believe in practicing black magic. Will black magic work? Can you put a curse on people and kill them or destroy their lives? Yeah, you can. But then from a spiritualist teaching, we said, where is that taking you? It's taking you to the descending circles of gloom and darkness. So yeah, you'll be all this and that on this earth. You'll be all the big person. But when you die, you're at a much lower level than you think. So don't go there. This is the thing, nobody has to go to the purgatorial realms if we are self-aware. So I want you to think about that. You might want to explore getting this book. I think it's still in print. You may not be able to find a 1918. This was the year it came, a brand new 1918 version. This is actually a 100-year-old book. It's amazing condition considering its age. It's one of my treasures. But if you can't find original 1918 version, that's really cool to have. But it's still modern versions of this book in print. So it's called The New Revelation by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I recommend it, okay? Well, guys, I'm going to leave that with you for thoughts. We're going to have our little spiritualist seance now. So I want you to get comfortable in your chairs, and we're going to turn down the lights, and we'll see what Spirit has. So be back with you in just a moment. All right, tubies, I have the lights out. We have just a little soft light coming in, but it's not too bright, so it won't distract me. As many of you know, I prefer to work in darkness or softer light when I do seances. Many mediums do, but not all. Some work in bright, broad daylight and under stage lights. But today we have a little softer lighting. And I'm going to go into trance. Now, for those of you who are new here and have never seen a seance, I am what is called a trance channel or a trance medium. And what that means is that I go into a trance state, and during that time, spirits overshadow my body and my consciousness, and they take temporary control of me. And during that temporary control, they're able to use my vocal cords to speak and my facial muscles and body. It's not possession, okay? It looks like possession, but possession is when a spirit forcibly takes control over somebody against their will. This is not possession because I work in harmony with the spirits. I give them permission to use my body, and it's not at all scary or painful. It's like I get a nap, so I'm going to go take a nap and let them talk to you. All right, I'll see you when I get back. Oh, this is Fletcher here. Give us just a moment while we get control of the medium's vibration. Oh, there we go. I think we're in the body. Our medium's power is a little bit weak today, so don't know that we'll be able to sustain the vibration long. But we'll let a few people pop in as they can. I'll be monitoring his energy flow. This is Fletcher, over and out. Yes, I do believe we're securely in the body now. Greetings, this is Alfred. I could not help but listen in as our medium was reading the words of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I was on Earth during his time of writing that book, and it was very popular in the spiritualist circles in which I moved. Spiritualism was immensely popular during the early part of the 20th century, particularly in Britain and in the United States. Both countries, you could say, shared a unity in their belief in the spiritual reality known as spiritualism. I myself attended many seances, saw the reality of the communication between worlds. Interestingly, at that time, I never thought of my own death, never considered that I myself would be a spirit who would be visiting this world from the other side. It is one who has attained the other side. Allow me to say that life in the spiritual world really is one of eternal growth, eternal progression. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's words of the circles of light and the circles of darkness are vertically true. Over here, the advanced souls can descend to any realm that they wish. So a very high spirit can go down into purgatory and comfort and enlighten, teach the souls there. The souls who find themselves in purgatory are many times shocked at the reality of the darkness of that place and of the gloom. It is a place of great sorrow. It is a place of expiation for one's sins, if you will. Every human soul creates its reality day by day. In my own world, I was at one time at a high level. I was able to commune with the upper worlds. It was before my fall into degradation. As some of you know, towards the end of my life I became an addict of alcohol and opium, and so it led me into a stupor, thinking myself to be wise, thinking that the opium would lead me closer to spirits. It led me into a place of darkness, and when I died through an opium dosage, that was not an opium overdose, but it weakened my body, I woke and found myself in that place of darkness. I was visited by an angel who showed me the upper realms. And they said, Alfred, at one time you were very close to this level. And they showed me a realm, an image of a beautiful place filled with a beautiful golden white light. And I said, I want to be in that light. And the angel who instructed me said, Alfred, you have much work to do until you can progress to that realm of light. I spent many years in that purgatory realm. But you have to understand that time does not exist in the spirit world. So 1 day or 1,000 days or 1,000,000 years, it is all the same. What is constant is our awareness of who we are, and yet our ability to progress. There are souls in the darker regions who prefer to stay there, delighting yet in their evil. I suppose some of them have been there for even thousands of years. But I have also seen souls who have only been in purgatory for what you might term a few days in earth time, before quickly ascending. You see, the difference is that some souls make a conscious decision to lower their vibration. And for these souls there is no help. Free will governs the spirit world, for the good and the bad. I was able to be lifted out of purgatory by this medium's efforts in a rescue one night. Fletcher and Rose came and helped me, and it was through the vibration of this medium's body that I was lifted upwards. And when I first crossed, I was very weak and could hardly speak. They brought me through the medium's body in order to stabilize my vibration before descending to the higher realms. You see, it is regrettable to me that I ever descended into that place of darkness. And so I encourage each of you today to understand that you do not have to go to the place of darkness. your very will to attain the light will take you there. As I heard the medium speak earlier, he said it is deeds, not creeds, that make the person. This is very true, and this is something that we in the spirit world are often sharing with those of you on the earth who will listen. What you believe is not so important as how you live that belief. Loving your neighbor is the greatest service. When I was alive, I was for a while a member of the Church of England before moving on to the Spiritualist Church, and later on to ceremonial magics. But in the Anglican Church, they used to say, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Love your neighbor, love God. How many of us hear these teachings, yet oftentimes just brush them over, say, oh, I know that verse, I know that teaching, heard it 1,000,000 times. We may have heard it, but do we live it, you see? There was a point in my life when I began to live it. Spiritualism taught me to reach for the gold, go for the highest, love God and love those around us. Be good to your neighbor. You see, when I turned to drinking and drugs, it did not elevate me as I thought it would. It lowered my vibration. In the spirit world, vibration counts for everything. You have a high vibration or a low vibration. The higher your vibration, the greater your power. You might wish to watch an air fan. You know when it's warm, you have an electrical fan that you run to cool yourselves with. When the fan is off, the blades appear very solid. We could say that it's like a soul at a low vibration, very dense, very solid. As we begin to turn on the fan, the blades rotate. Suddenly they start to become clearer, and they give the illusion of being able to see through them. So when they're at a very high speed, it is as if you see no blades, but you can see directly through the fan. This is a high vibration. It is like a soul that oscillates like the fan at a high speed. The soul at a high vibration is immensely more powerful, can do greater things, and has the ability to transcend dimensions. And so always try to be aware of your soul's vibration. If you act in love, your vibration increases. And if you act in hatred, your vibration decreases. And so today I encourage each of you to raise your power so that you will never have to go to the circles of gloom and darkness, but that upon your exiting of your body, which shall come to all of you someday, you will ascend into the realm of light and glory, the realms of peace and joy, where your spirit will live in eternal light, ever learning, ever growing. Do not wait until your death. Begin your journey now. My name is Alfred. Oh, this is Fletcher here. Our medium's vibration's a little weak today. He's still healing in the body, so we don't wish to tax his energy. So we're going to be ending the seance a little earlier than usual. But please know that we're with you. But before we go, let Rose step in just for a brief moment and speak with you. Greetings, my dears. This is Rose. Oh, such a blessing to be here with all of you. I was listening with a close ear to Alfred teaching, and I must say, the words that he spoke are very true. Begin your journey now towards the light, and you will have great success and joy. You know, I have had the privilege of meeting Arthur Conan Doyle here in the spirit world. And I said to him, I said, Sir Arthur, I said to him, I said, why is it, my dear, that I did not learn these truths while on earth? And he said to me, Rose, you did have the opportunity. You chose to ignore it, as do many souls. I said, I suppose you're right, Sir Arthur. But you see, I ask all of you, don't make the mistake of closing your mind and hearts to the spirit world. Our world is here waiting to help you. We only want the best for all of you. So as Alfred has said, as well as Sir Arthur, let love reign in your heart. Love the Lord your God. Love your neighbor. And let the light fill your soul. That just says the medium's power is waning, so we shall not overextend our stay. But I send each of you my blessings today, and we send all of the help of the spirit world to you. Please call upon us, and we will be there to enlighten you and to walk with you on your journey. It is a journey from light to light if you let it be. Ooh, the power's fading now, and I shall step from our medium. I feel my power weakening, but I send each of you my love, and I wish you call of me my name. Pray. Hey TV Psychic Bob here. It is so good to be back with you. Well, I'm so glad I sat with the spirits today. You know, whenever I channel, it's like the light of heaven is in me, and I feel so good. Between your prayers and the help of the spirit people, I just think I'm going to make it. Anyways, if you've enjoyed today's class and seance, you might want to pop over to my website and check out this book, Messages from Rose. This is my book that tells about my work as a trance channel, as a trance medium, and I think you'll really enjoy it. So definitely check that out. While you're over there, we also got Ouija Mysteries, the Spirit Board Seances. These are all books that I have written that are published by Lulu Press, and I think you'll enjoy them. Also, Psychic Bob's book, A Wiccan Wisdom. So pop over there, check out those books. Well, guys, I'm going to keep it short today. I love you. Thanks for being here. Thank you for your prayers. Be back here tomorrow on Sunday. We're going to have Sunday evening, the Witching Hour. It's a live broadcast, live interaction with me and with the crew. Lady Angela and Lord Tony will be with us. We're going to talk about all things mystical, magical, and Wiccan. So I hope you'll be here for that. Tomorrow night, Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain, 5 Pacific, 1 a.m. London, 2 a.m. Paris time. So we hope you'll be there. Blessings to you all. Have a wonderful day. Next week we'll be back and we'll continue with our Spiritualist class and seance. See you back here tomorrow for the Witching Hour. Until then, may you always blessed be.